then the name will come back. So
Abdul
basically,
Rashid Muhammad, is that the name you are thinking?
no, Rashid Muhammad. No,
Oh, okay.
that's another endorser. I forget it. He's gonna come. Oh, Badr Qasim Okda. Yeah. So basically, alhamdulillah. So again, I'm here. So hopefully, so we'll be discussing about the Ilm Foundation process, and when my term comes, and then I'll be able to elaborate what need to come. Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here and for representing Ilm Foundation. Okay, so we will go ahead and get started with our, yes, and thank you for the reminder. The session is being recorded now. Just turn that on. Yes, inshallah, so that will be available later as well. So let's go ahead and get started with hearing from ISNA. And so Brother Saif and Brother Basharat, if you all would like to take 10 to 12 minutes and please go over whatever you'd like to share about ISNA's endorsement process.
So like I said, yeah, go ahead, Chaplain Saiful Islam.
I was wondering if you want to go first or you want me to go first.
No, you can go first. And in fact, you can cover it all. If there's a need, I will jump in. No problem.
Okay. All right. Assalamu alaikum again. As I said, my name is Saiful Islam. I was a Navy chaplain, endorsed by ISNA for 25 years and retired. Now ISNA said, come over and help us with the endorsement process. So the ISNA is one of the, as you know, largest institution in North America and endorses the kind of all varieties of chaplains, in North America, to include military, hospital, prison, other government agencies, colleges, universities, and also in a position to endorse anybody who needs in whatever category they would like to go get into. So the process pretty much remains the similar to with others, because it is a standard follows by most religious institution in America. But the military has a very rigorous process and requirement to endorse. Sorry, my computer accepts calls too. So anyway, so we have the process of endorsement, and we have a designated website that anybody can go to, ISNA Chaplaincy Services, and look into all the requirements that are there. After I came on board, we're trying to make it more applicant-friendly, candidate-friendly website, and updating certain information that they can easily access to. We might provide some links to the military chaplaincy programs. We have Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Marine Corps are provided by the Navy for their chaplains. So we have that. We're going to go and continue to improve as we go. So the requirement is that obviously you submit your completed application. Then you have to have a Master of Divinity or equivalent degrees. That is a requirement for the military, and in most cases.
Yeah. I think it's the NASA something or other you're going to.
Not sure yet.
Sorry, please go ahead.
Okay. Was it a question towards me, or
I don't think so. I think someone just joined unmuted. But yeah, if it was, we can also address it at the end, inshallah. Sorry about that. Please go ahead.
Okay. So the requirements remains the same, the education, the training, and then ISNA runs a background check, and then the interview process and things like that. And if you go to the ISNA website, the requirements are all documented and listed for you to follow and then apply towards the program. Some of the things that we're going to go and improve the process, and also to see that whether that the citizenship requirement, being in the military and somebody applies, and then are we going to endorse who is not a citizen, or doesn't have a permanent residency card, things like that. So we are working on those issues. And then we have some requirements also to continue the endorsement is that they attend the chaplaincy training, in conjunction with, it happens always with the ISNA annual convention during the Labor Day weekend. So we do have that requirement for them to continue their endorsement. And also there is a minimum administrative fees that they have to do in order for us to maintain the administrative process. So basically those are the things, but main thing is the requirement for educational requirement and training. Those are big, obviously, and then certain other things that we have to make sure that their moral character, their contribution to the community and things like that. So, basic and bottom line, you cannot be a chaplain if you don't have certain moral characters along with it. So those are the things is a requirement. And as you know, there is the shortage of Muslim chaplains all over the United States. And then, we need to be more proactive endorsing, but we also have to make it user-friendly, become chaplain friendly. So we have a process of not only endorsing chaplains, but also chaplain candidates and also lay leaders. So those are all in there, and we are trying to make it easier. We have a lot of experiences, and those who would like to be endorsed, there are other chaplains who are serving in different community, military, hospitals, and we can connect them with those who are serving for them to learn more and how to become a chaplain. Over. Anybody, any question? That's pretty much.
Okay, thank you. Brother Bashara, did you want to add anything to what Chaplain Safe just covered? Did we lose him? I'm not able to see everybody. We may have lost him. Okay. Oh no.
Sorry, this is Bashar. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying that Chaplain Saiful Islam, I think, covered the basic requirements that ISNA has. Obviously, we are endorsing Muslim chaplains. Therefore, in addition to the educational background, whether in divinity or a related field, we want to ensure that these chaplains have the basic knowledge about Islam, about their religion, that they can then impart that to the candidates. The second thing is chaplaincy is also irrespective of faith, meaning that a chaplain has to provide these services to anybody and everybody who is in need of such a service. And we want to make sure that is the case. We also have developed a code of ethics within ISNA. Therefore, all our endorsees have to abide and sign that code of ethics at the same time. We have ongoing training that Chaplain Saiful Islam referred to, including a mandatory training before the ISNA Annual Convention, which is usually a 2-day program where we invite different chaplains and trainers, and every endorsee has to attend that training program, in addition to some other educational service that we offer in other times during the year. So that's really pretty much what we have, but we'll be happy to answer any questions that may arise. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both for that helpful overview of ISNA's process. We will turn now to Sister Ani from MPV, Muslims for Progressive Values. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm going to be sharing my, let's see, it's not showing up. There it is. Does that help? Okay, that should go. All right. So I'm the founder and president of Muslims for Progressive Values. It's a nonprofit human rights organization that so happens to be Muslim, based in Los Angeles. I'm originally from Malaysia, Muslim born and raised. Sometimes I have to explain that to people just because my last name is Zonneveld, and they get very confused how a Jewish sounding name is running a Muslim organization. So I think that's, for those of you who don't know who I am, that's probably a good background to know. What's important is that we started out basically advocating for social justice issues, interpretation, ijtihad of Islam from a inclusive and compassionate and human rights framework. And so our 10 principles is very much anchored in the Islamic and Quranic values and the good hadith traditions, and so on and so forth, those that are inclusive in nature. And from that, as a result of that, what we've been noticing, and me particularly as the founder and president, is that people, particularly the younger chaplains, have started to come to us to ask us if we would consider endorsing or establishing an endorsement system for them because of their particular interpretation of Islam or their values and the values that they subscribe to in the context of Islam. And they felt that MPV's 10 principles really resonated for them. And so as a result of that, it's been in some few years now that we've started to endorse chaplains. So this is a bit of a background about who we are. MPV's mission is to inculcate a culture of human rights through public education, advocacy, and the arts. Yes, I mean, an Arabic sounding name, yes. So that's that. So we're very much committed to human dignity, justice, and the full inclusion of Muslims. And so everything that we do, the work that we do, whether it be the theological interpretation, whether it be the inclusivity in which we conduct ourselves, or in the community that we've established ourselves, it all is from that prison of human dignity, justice, and the full inclusion of all Muslims. In the United States, we are in 7 cities: in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Boston, DC, New York, and Arizona. And we also have affiliates in 5 continents. So this is that's the influence of work that we have. We see as providing a particular niche service to members of the Muslim community. And like I said, particularly those who subscribe to a more inclusive interpretation of Islam, and also those who are LGBT Muslims who are also striving to be chaplains, for example. Our space, we're very much grounded, as I said, in the Quran and the tradition. And we are what we would regard ourselves as a spiritually safe space. Our members of our community are very diverse. It includes Sunni, Shia, those that don't really subscribe to a madhab, Ahmadiyyas, or what have you. But they all see themselves as Muslim. And that's the most important foundation of it all. Quarterly virtual meetups, chaplain-centered support, and we have an ongoing relationship. We have, as I said, we have chapters in different cities, and sometimes some of the chaplains fall within the geography of those particular cities, and so that sort of works hand in hand with us developing community with our chaplains as well. Let's see what else. The application process, this is all on our website, but real quick, I think probably not that much different from many organizations. The spiritual autobiography is actually really important for us because everybody has their own particular spiritual journeys. And we also get converts that have become Muslims and want to be endorsed by us. So I think the speed documentations, a lot of recommendations, etc., etc. And we have an interview process, and I'm one of the interviewees, along with two other of our chaplains. So there's always me and two others, and the three of us actually make up the endorsing committee. So it's not a one person that does the reviews of the applicants. And our next review is going to be in June. So here's a little bit about myself and Sajana Durrani, who's been leading the effort of the chaplaincy and endorsement, and Narjis Kardan. So it's a very diverse group of Muslims, except for Sajana and myself. We're both originally from Malaysia, so that's kind of the difference that we share in common, I should say. And our whole thing is that as an organization, as well as through our chaplaincy endorsement process, we believe that everyone belongs and in Islam. And so we operate from that prison. So we really believe that we're all created in the image of God. And so therefore, we come at it from a universalist perspective, probably is one way of saying it, but an inclusive way, and that is everyone should be able to be yourself and be Muslim. And with that, I conclude my presentation. I'll stop sharing now. Okay. There we go.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. Thank you, Annie. Okay, next we will hear from Brother Mustafa, who will cover the Allen Foundation's endorsement process.
Again.
Please go ahead.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 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 Thank you for the opportunity again. I'm speaking on behalf of Imam Abu Ishaq Hafiz, who is the Shura Council of Southern California, again, and director of prison, prison ministry, as well as a board member of Ilmu Foundation. So again, as I said earlier, that's I'm endorsed by Ilmu Foundation, and I'm going to be speaking about onboarding process as well. So Ilmu Foundation, again, is we are well known for our humanitarian and also education again, vanguard, because we have a lot of activities we do in Africa and many other countries, include again in the United States. We in Los Angeles. But in terms of chaplaincy processes, we mainly endorse chaplain for the prison, although we have one or two in education perspective. So our onboarding process, the most of the times is word of mouth. So we, time like in old school, word of mouth, and we do have a website which is called Humanitarian Days. That's under the Ilmu Foundation, but it's more word of mouth. If somebody who's already chaplain might talk to someone, pass a word, and they will contact the Ilmu Foundation via email or phone call. And then we will, it's based on a recommendation, word of mouth, the recommendation, and then about the person who should be endorsed. And we will do what's called a preliminary interview for that particular person. One of the board member can talk to that particular person, try to find out who they are, if they're good fit, their interest, background, anything of that nature. And if that goes well, and then pretty much then they will be submitting an application. And we have two processes. We have a short application, long application. And short application usually take about 2 weeks to do. Sometimes it might take a week to complete, if the person is applying for the job, that's required for them to be endorsed faster, or quicker. So we do that, and we do as well, and then we do a quick background, just make sure they have anything that's might cause a red flag. So other than that, so they will do the application, and at 3, they will be interviewed by, 3 member of the board. And, basically we're focusing on a few things. We're focusing on the person education. And that means that, they're Muslim, they have getting education, have a master's degree, and in Islamic studies. That it could be again jurisprudence, it could be in the Islamic Arabic language and Islamic studies, it can be in a include Islamic spirituality, and the list goes on. So, and then we also, the person who is going to have a mental, again, you have he's mentally sound, and also have a, having integrity, and also someone have again a well-documented experience in terms of doing the ministry, or they have been an imam within the community, or they have been a teacher at the school. Because the chaplain, you don't have to be an imam, you can be a teacher teaching the Islamic school. And we have some of them who just came out of school, and from Bayan, or come up from what call it we call it Hartford Seminar. Now it's called Hartford International University, or any other university, whether overseas, thing of that nature. So we do that, and pretty much, and also, again, of course, they will complete the endorsement processes, and we will also verify the credential, and if they have a foreign credential, that will be evaluated, and for credential purposes. So, in terms of the process, usually take, and again, the shorter 2 weeks, or it can take longer if the person will do the sorry, I got a text from some job from work. And so that's basically what we do that. So again, when that's approved, so, and the person will be informed via phone call, and also we send them an email, or they have been accepted, again, they've been welcome. So in terms of the fee, in the last pass, we just barely start requesting people to participate in, again, in giving but around about $200 if they have it, in terms of helping Ilmu Foundation to do the paperwork, other things of nature. So we also have once a year we have a conference when we do updating information from, we usually do that in Los Angeles, because that's where we have most of our and again, center is in Los Angeles. So we do that, in terms of sharing information. Also, we invite other people from the community, some new students, and discussing about the processes, how somebody could become chaplain, from the prison, include the military, because we have a relationship with the Qasim al-Uqda organization, in terms of if they want to become a chaplain in the prisons. Other than that, so, any other, again, additional information, so, we can, do, go from there. When, again, but also in terms of the credential, when we mean education, I'm just want to make sure that's it. They will have about 73 credits, of graduate studies. We try to be very lenient when it comes to those credit. They can be whether Islamic finance, again, as I say, Islamic spiritualities, also in Arabic language, so what can make a Muslim a Muslim, because Islamic studies is more than just studying hadith and the Quran. What makes somebody a Muslim, in order for somebody to have a better and open-minded and understand, that's included somebody who else have we also will accept somebody who have maybe 30 degree in Islamic study, and they have a master degree in Islamic counseling, or in the regular, again, MFT, marriage and family therapy, or whatever is psychology stuff. So we will combine it to make it work. So inshallah, so I yield back my time, and I look forward for any other question that might come up. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Walaikum assalam. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. Okay, and we will round out our presentations with, and we'll hear from Sister Shazida from MEC, from Muslim Endorsement Council. Please go ahead, Sister. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, 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 Rabbil Alameen, wa lakibatul mutakin, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulihi, Muhammad wa alihi, wa ashabi wa libayti dhurriyati ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am trying to get this to be on because you can't see it properly, right?
Yeah, we're seeing 3 slides so let's see. I think if you go to the top right of your screen where it says share, the orange button. I haven't used PowerPoint in a long time, so it's looking a little unfamiliar to me. But I think we can figure it out. Let's see.
Yeah, I wanted to get it to full screen to
yeah. Oh, I think if you go to slideshow in your menu.
Okay, let's see if that works.
There you go.
Okay, all right. Let me start from the beginning. Okay, so I want to thank AMC leadership for inviting me, and I'm very honored to be among respected colleagues and chaplains. And so let's begin, inshallah. So some background. MEC is a nonprofit religious endorsing organization. We were incorporated in 2011, but this work really started in 2006, where we started researching and trying to collaborate with other organizations. And all of this is on our website for more details. Let me go on to the next slide. Okay, we are recognized by these organizations that you might be familiar with. So we recently submitted our first DoD chaplain. He is in the U.S. Air Force. And we are recognized by the BOP, the ACP, the BCCI, the ACPE, and the CPSP. So we can endorse chaplains who are in the hospitals and ready for their certification, and of course prison chaplains and now military, alhamdulillah. So as you know, you all know, and I won't go into too much of it, there is a reason for ecclesiastic endorsement, and that is because of the policy of separation of church and state. In terms of definitions of endorsement, endorsement is a process whereby a faith tradition certifies that a person has the requisite attitude, the competency, the formal learning, the skills, and faith community support needed to facilitate the delivery of services to members of the faith tradition and people of other faith in the public and private institution. In terms of Islamic, specifically, Islamic chaplaincy is a field of spiritual care and counseling utilizing pastoral care guidelines and methodology from an Islamic paradigm. I won't go into this. I think we all know what a Muslim chaplain does, but basically providing spiritual and religious guidance. They facilitate individual and communal prayer, coordinate religious rites, and respond to emotional and spiritual crisis of Muslims and people of other faith, protecting the religious rights of Muslim and people of other faiths, assisting and shaping religious inclusive institution policies. So in terms of the responsibility of an endorsing bodies are responsible for to the institution or the organization that engages us to vet chaplains. We are also for MEC, we do research into each area of chaplaincy to ascertain the realities on the ground and what skills and qualifications are needed. And we hold chaplains accountable. In terms of our responsibility towards our chaplains, we evaluate, and our evaluation, we have a rubric that is that really emphasize fairness and transparency. And we advocate for our chaplains and we support them. In terms of the chaplain's responsibility towards their endorsing body, we would like to see that they comply with our general terms of endorsement and maintain ethical standards and do no harm. One of the things of the organizational point is that we have a very strict confidentiality policy where anyone who will come in contact with our applicants, our endorsee records, have to sign a confidentiality agreement. We are accountable to the organization that recognize and trusts us to send qualified chaplains. We work with educational institutions to inform them of endorsement requirements. Basically, we are not accountable to the educational institutions. We are accountable to the organizations that engages us to vet chaplains. And we basically hold the educational institution accountable. We conduct research into various areas of chaplaincies to ascertain their duties, and we fashion our application and our requirements through those researches. Now, I know this is a lot, but if anyone wants this presentation, I am happy to share. So what we did in part of our research, I'm just going to tell you very quickly, part of our research, we looked at three organizations. We looked at the military, the BOP, and what it takes to on certification for hospital chaplains. And we looked at really what the job entails. And from that, we developed our 5 core competencies and our application. And so our application is online. Our 5 core competency includes Quranic literacy, prophetic theory and practice. It includes cross-cultural capabilities, facilitation skills, and professional theory and practice. And this is just a continuation of that. Let me go on. Okay, so let's get into the process. In terms of the process, the application is online, and we could take it online, or we could take it otherwise. After the application has been deemed completed, we convene a 3-panel a 3-member panel, which one of the members would include the chaplain from the specific area of chaplaincy that the applicant is applying for. The panel will use the rubric, the MEC rubric, to ascertain the qualification of the applicant in the 5 areas of competencies. The panel will submit their report to the board, the MEC board. The board will deliberate, and they will vote as to if this candidate will be accepted as an endorsee or not. The applicant, if they do not agree with the decision, there is an appellate process. In terms of some of the items that we look at in the application is we do a background check. We make sure that they sign a code of ethics, and that is done annually as well, both the code of ethics and background check. We require 2 references, one from a peer, and one is from a religious leader. We do an annual training, and our annual training is virtual and interactive, and actually this year's it's on Sunday. Let me see what else. The fees. The application fees is $150 for the application fees, and the annual fees is $100. The rubric that we have created, you can, it was published in the Journal of the Islamic Faith and Practice. You can access it from there. And really, the reason we created this is it's to provide transparent and consistent means of evaluation. Not only that, it's to convey a foundational standard for endorsement, and then to accommodate room for incremental growth, and to accommodate for each area of chaplaincy. Obviously, each area of chaplaincy is different in nature, and so that rubric will accommodate that flexibility. The rubric was reviewed by HIU, Bayan Islamic Graduate School, the Boston Islamic Seminary, TISA, AIC, Dr. Ingrid Matson, and several chaplains from the different areas of chaplaincy. To conclude, our objective is really to evaluate, endorse, and support. We have an evaluation structure, religious and professional standards. We want to advance Islamic chaplaincy and promote endorsement in all areas of chaplaincy, and not just the ones that needed for work. And I will conclude here, and I will be happy to take any questions.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I think we can go ahead and, so we've heard from all 4 of the endorsing bodies. Unfortunately, we've lost 2 of our panelists, 2 of the representatives. So both Ani and Brother Mustafa had to leave for another meeting at 4, and so Island Foundation and MPV. And so if there are any questions specifically about either of those 2 organizations or processes, please feel free to drop those in the chat. We can, we can try to get those answered and get those answers back to you. But in the meantime, we have MEC and ISNA still represented here. And so if there are any questions that are either specific to either of those bodies or about the endorsement process in general, please go ahead and feel free to ask those now. You can either raise your hand using the Zoom function, or you can just, raise your hand or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the question.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. This is Lauren here chiming in. Thank you guys so much for sharing information and talking about endorsement. I was wondering if the endorsement folks who are still on the call with us now could talk a little bit about the interview process and what applicants can expect to be asked during the interview, as well as any thoughts you guys have on how you assess for and what does it mean to be Quranically literate from each of your perspective.
Okay, I can share some up from the Islam perspective. If you visit the ISNA website, isna.net/chaplaincy services, it pretty much outlines what are the requirements and what the board expect from a chaplain. First and foremost, as Brother Basharat indicated, that you have to have the foundation of Islamic knowledge. And second is that they have to have the required educational training, certificate, which is like Master of Divinity. I understand it's a 90 credit hours, kind of diploma or degree. And then in the military, if you have to have, in addition to your degree, 2 years of experience supporting the community as a chaplain. So those are the requirement for the military. And then other institution may have little differently, but the basic requirement is to have your Master of Divinity or equivalent. And for the board to make sure that the person who wants to be a chaplain has the foundation of helping those who they are going to serve. And if you are going to the military chaplaincy or prison or in the hospital or any, that you will not be only serving those who are Muslim. So are you ready to serve everybody, regardless of their faith, and counseling and provide confidentialities and all those things? So the board wants to know whether you have the grasp of becoming a chaplain and supporting of all faiths and not just Muslims. Is that answer your questions?
I think if you can maybe just add on, the question specifically was asking the kinds of things that are asked in the interview portion of the application process.
Yeah, so we ask first your interest, why you want to become a chaplain. Okay, in any interview, tell me about yourself. The question that, but why you want, what led you to become a chaplain? Why you want to become a chaplain, or why you want to become a chaplain to a specific institution? So, and how you can contribute based on those foundations that I outlined as a chaplain in order for you to be successful. Like, so you want a chaplain just not to become a chaplain, because when you go to an institution, would like you to move up in the military, through the rank. And so there are a lot of things, just not, being a chaplain. Chaplain is broader, because what do you mean? What do you understand by a chaplain? Because we're a Muslim. We're not talking about imam or anything like a chaplain has a different connotation, in serving. So it is a Western understanding what the chaplain. Do you understand what chaplain is all about? Okay. What is the definition of a chaplain? Where did it come from? Things like that. So the person who wants to be a chaplain must be equipped to understand those concepts. It's just not, because, if you can be an imam, and the imam doesn't require those specific degrees, from the Islamic perspective. But to become a chaplain, there is a criteria. So how are you going to fulfill, how are you going to understand, how are you going to fulfill those requirements and commit yourself to those kind of things? Because in my experience, I have seen they want to be a chaplain, but they want to be a chaplain just for Muslim, being a Muslim chaplain. Certain things that you have to get. Go ahead, Brother Bashar.
Yeah, no, just to add to what you already said, Chaplain Saiful Islam, is that interview is the last part of our application process. So there are various steps. It begins with the written application submission, and then we do all kinds of other things, including the background check. But then interview is really to know the individual on a professional, personal level. And like Chaplain Saiful Islam said, we want to know what motivates this person to serve as a chaplain. What is their motivation? What is their personal life story? What are their ideas about self-improvement and gaining constant knowledge and professionalism? So we want to know more about the individual and what motivates them, so that we can make a calculation whether or not that person is good to be a chaplain or not. The other thing is, even though we are endorsing Muslim chaplains, but these chaplains are serving everybody irrespective of their faith. So somebody could be of another faith, but the services have to be delivered in the same fashion without any bias. We also want to learn in the interview, does the individual have any kind of innate bias? There are ways to find that out, and we want to make sure that we are alert to that as well, and avoid those situations. So that's really the process of the interview and the questions we ask.
I think Chaplain Lauren wanted to understand what is Quranic literacy. Am I right, Chaplain Lauren?
Yes, please. I would love for you to share details
Thank you.
of what that means.
All right. So Quranic literacy really it is about reading the Quran in Arabic with tajweed, Quran memorization, familiarity with scholarly interpretation of the Quran, and ability to apply the Quran to everyday situation in the U.S. context. And we have the prophetic theory and practice also, which is the ability to recall any discussion of major events from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, basic knowledge of hadith and their impact on the Muslim practice of Islam, the ability to apply prophetic example to current everyday situations in the U.S. And of course, we have facilitation skills where we are ascertaining how the person is effectively helping a request that comes from the client, providing support or maybe giving referrals, experiencing loss and grief, developing and coordinating with facilities, public facilities, worship, spiritual practices, whatever is important in that area. And we also have the professional theory and practice, which is establishing and maintaining professional and interdisciplinary relations inside and outside of the institution in which they function, articulating an understanding of the institutional culture and systems, demonstrating the ability to effectively document interactions within that institution that they work for. And of course, as Brother Bashar mentioned, we would like to know that the chaplain is self-aware. So we would like to know their biases, if they are aware of their biases. So the questions from Mac will be from around that area.
Do you, I have a quick follow-up, and the question in chat. So Sister Shazida is here representing Muslim Endorsement Council, MEC.
Mm-hmm.
Do you all share any kind of your interview questions before, or those are the areas around which you will be asking those questions?
So for us, we really look at your application. And from the application, we tailor the questions, right? And even from the fundamental questions that we want to ask, it's really tailored towards that application. Not only the applicant, but the area of chaplaincy.
Okay, I see we have a couple of hands. Sister Nagla, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you very much. My name is Nagla Abdullah, and I am the Associate Muslim Chaplain at Boston University. I have attended your previous pathway to chaplaincy, previous sessions, and it come to me like the chaplaincy pathway. It's like well, the pathway that for the people that you're hosted, they are all like Americanized, or it's a an Islamic chaplains or not organizations. Now for the endorsement, my question here is, do you provide a pathway for Muslim chaplaincy for a person like me working for 2 years in this position? I don't have any divinity or Islamic education, like solid, but I do have my other degrees in education itself. So do you provide any pathway for any person in a higher education, since the chaplaincy in higher education, it's new, for us to be like certified or endorsed or anything like that?
Sister
Najla.
Najala, thank you. I would say give us a call and we could have a talk and figure this out. And that's what we do. People will have questions and we will talk and try to guide them on a path that they could achieve their goals.
Yeah,
Sure.
And I would add, Sister Najla, I don't know if your question was specific to endorsement or more broadly about a pathway to chaplaincy for for university chaplains. I think so. This series is designed actually to do exactly what you're looking for. And so I'm sorry to hear that it hasn't actually answered your questions. And so I'm happy to have a conversation with you as well. Please talk to Sister Shazida at MEC, but also, at with AMC, we can help you fill in some of the information that you're looking for, because, for certain chaplains, you have your employing institution will require certain things, right? Whether you need board certification, what type of degrees, 1 CPE unit, 5 CPE, whatever it is, like there are some requirements that are tied to certain fields of chaplaincy. Others, like yours, don't really have those requirements. And so the idea behind the series is that, for each chaplain, there are going to be pieces that are either missing in your chaplaincy journey, because of where you started, because of where you are now, because of which field you're in, whatever the case may be. And that either because you are seeking employment or because you are just looking to strengthen and build your own skills and build your own education and training, that there are these there are these steps that you could be taking. You could take, from the first session, there are certificates that chaplains could take to strengthen, whether it's it's a certificate in Islamic chaplaincy, or in interreligious dialogue, or various other topics. You could take that if you already have an MDiv, for example, or if you have a master's in another area, and down the line, if you can take, some fields of chaplaincy will require CPE, others will not. However, if you attended that session, hopefully, the takeaway from that session was that it's an immensely beneficial process and experience for every chaplain to go through. And so I think, and there's a chaplain who is an AMC member who actually, I think, had a very similar journey to where you are now, Chaplain Najla. And so I'm happy to put you in touch with her afterwards also. Inshallah, I know you have an email to me with other questions, and I'll try to remember to add that into my communication response to you as well. So I hope that answers your question a little bit more broadly as well.
Yeah, and I thank you very much for that. But I really wish from those amazing organizations that they really have a path, because the Muslim chaplaincy, what I see is they are trying to make it same as the Christian chaplaincy or the Jewish chaplaincy. So we don't do these like ordinal or the service in the church same like them. So if we have our own path, I think that's going to be amazing for us.
Yeah, so Sister Najala, I hope I said that right. We are not we don't ordinate, right? This is not Islam. We don't do that. But we do want to give chaplain all the skills and all the information and all the education that they need to be successful. And it reminds me that one of the things that we require is at least 1 unit of CPE. And the reason for that is across the board. I'm not speaking of educational chaplains here, but across the boards in other areas, it is required, CPE. So we would require 1 unit of CPE, and it's very helpful. So yes.
I just want to add some, being a chaplain as sister indicated earlier, that the institutional requirement dictates sometimes that what you have to have.
Mhm.
It's not that we as an institution, endorsing an institution, dictating that. It is the requirement. If it is a prison or hospital or military and universities, they will have their specific requirement, and they decide the requirement based on their other faith requirements. So you have to compete with them as well. So yes, as a Muslim chaplain, they might want to hire you as a Muslim chaplain because there is a requirement, but not necessarily from the military perspective. If you are not qualified, regardless how many they need, they will not hire you. So, but for a community itself, in a Muslim community, they can hire, they can help you function in their masjid and other places. But if you want to go to a professional institution that is run by the American society and system, then you will have to have those requirements.
Yeah, and I think, just a quick, Chaplain Luqman, thank you for your patience. I know you've had your hand up for a while. We'll get to you. I just want to, you're next, I promise. I just want to add a quick note to what Chaplain Saiful Islam, you just said. I think, and just reiterate that you chaplains are working in mainstream institutions, and I think apart from university chaplains, chaplains are serving people, as as has been mentioned multiple times in this meeting already, are serving people of all faiths. And so I think, there is sort of that baseline competency that that chaplains need to have, because they are not, they're, unlike imams, are not only serving Muslim people, right? But I think the other pieces, and this is something that AMC is very aware of and sort of concerned with and working on, is that exactly what you're highlighting, Chaplain Najla, right? That we're not just mimicking and emulating sort of the the Christian or Jewish processes. And I think you'll find that the MDiv programs that exist for Islamic chaplaincy, even the endorsement process is for Muslim endorsing bodies to say that this person fits XYZ criteria based on an evaluation criteria that exists from within our tradition, right? And so I think there are significant differentiators along the pathway for a Muslim chaplain, than there are for a Christian or a Jewish chaplain, and and so I hope to have the opportunity to talk to you more, inshallah, in the future about about specific concerns that you have. But just to say that I hear what you're saying. I hear the concern, and I think that all of us, whether it's ISNA or whether it's MEC or AMC, as well as the chaplains who are who are serving in various institutions are concerned with making sure that we're not sort of boilerplate copying what Christian chaplains are doing, but that there is a distinctively Islamic nature to your chaplaincy.
Thank you.
You're absolutely correct, because we're not asking you to have a Master of Divinity in Christianity or in Judaism. We are asking you to have that Master of Divinity in Islam, because that is what, if you come with the Master of Divinity in Christianity, probably will not, have that kind of conversation. But yes.
No, Brother Saifuddin, what I want to say, as Muslims, the Islam is embedded in us since we are born. So if we have to have that credit, we will have a PhD since we are raised, since we are born. For the Christianity, they do have that because they are studying it. They only come and do it on a weekly basis, very rare. But for the Muslim person, they have that from the day that they are born. You know that, I think, like in all the Muslim countries. So it's not only that we go to school and study, we practice it on our daily life. That's why when the chaplaincy came to the higher education, it's new for them. Like I had maybe 7 rounds of interviews, okay, for this position. It's not because they don't have the criteria for a chaplaincy, because they don't know. And I'm here aiming that you as an organization to be accredited organization at the higher education in the United States. So not only depending, like, because tomorrow if my dean said, okay, where is your accreditation for that, what shall I say? So like, I'm from the beginning here, like trying to just emphasize that as Muslim, we should have these in place. So even at the Harvard, the University for Peace, they do have that for Muslim chaplaincy, and they do have those masters. I don't want to add another degree. I already have my education, doctoral degree in education. But if there is a certification, or if there is a lower certification just to put me into that path, that's what I am asking for. So, for prison, for the military, for the hospital, these are already established chaplaincy. Now, for the community, for the universities, these are new positions that we just need to be prepared for. So that's my...
No, I hear you, because I have 4 different masters. It was not, military said no. You have to have a Master of Divinity, that would say. But what you were saying, that we ISNA also has another, what we call a lay leader. We can endorse you as a lay leader where all these requirements are not required. And if any institution accept that, then you are good to go. So, the lay leader is another option that you can go to, where the Master of Divinity is not a requirement. There is a very, you can function as a, lay leader. What we can say from the Islamic term is like a muaddin type, So we have that option to give you that endorsement as a lay leader, if that helps.
Yeah, and I'd really like to get to Chaplain Luqman now, but I will add one final note, Sister Najla, to your question. If you, we will share the recording of the very first session that we had for the Islamic chaplaincy institutions, and they discussed their certification, their certificates that they had, that they offer. And so I think it might be useful for you to explore those as the kind of thing that you're looking for, inshallah. And so those, please just keep an eye on once the final session concludes next week. We will share the recordings of all 5, and then you can look to those. And we'll also share the links and things as well, inshallah. Okay, thank you. Chaplain Luqman, please go ahead. And I apologize.
I'm sorry, I have questions because I have a lot of experience. I don't have a master's degree. I don't even have a bachelor's. But the truth is, everywhere I have gone liked what I do because I have empathy. I do follow the life of the prophet and do it as he did. So I'm trying to figure out, y'all are requiring, you know what I'm saying, and I'm not you. Institutions are requiring that you have to have a master's of divinity, you have to have a PhD, and they're not looking at lived experiences. Because I have 15 years as a drug counselor, which led me into being really kind of, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I was good as a chaplain because I came in from a counseling point of view where I knew how to listen to people with empathy. The only difference was as a clinical chaplain, and I'm not talking about just an Islamic, because I had to deal with everybody, whether they were Christian, Jewish, no religion. I had to deal with everybody, including the staff members. And I'm saying the endorsement process overlooks that for people that have this type of life experience, which even colleges now are granting credits, etc., for life experiences. So what do y'all do for people like me? I mean, it ain't really bothering me. I just come on here to learn things because I'm gonna do what I do anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because I get satisfaction out of helping people. But the problem is, it seems like every time I listen to what y'all require, y'all are not asking for a chaplain. Y'all are asking for an imam. You're asking for a qadi. You're asking for everything but a chaplain, a person that has empathy for somebody and can just sit there and listen to people and journey with them on their journey. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's what I see. And I might be wrong. I could be wrong. But everything I hear is, oh, you got to have this. And the truth is, the majority of people that I've known that got into the field with those degrees, they really suck at it because they wasn't taught how to be empathetic or how to just listen to people. But they got all the education, they're hardcore in this and etc., but they lack empathy. And I'm just saying that because I was part of an organization that started in New York called the Interfaith Organization, where there was chaplains of everybody. But we got together and hooked up a spiritual care thing that I kind of teach to some people. You know what I'm saying? And I don't hear none of that. What do you do? How do you help somebody that's in spiritual distress? Because when you get your Master's of Divinity degree from a college, they don't teach you that. They teach you all the book learning, but they don't teach you how to listen. And I'm saying, you know, this is something that I'm feeling that y'all should put into it because they don't. I know plenty of students of knowledge that's come out and got jobs in prison. They're the worst people in the world. And I'm sorry about that, you know, because they're supposed to help these people so when they come out, they can make it easier. You know, I'm just saying, maybe people need to look into that. And, you know, I understand the criteria for the 1 unit of CPE, but you need to make sure that they understand what CPE is.
Thank you, Brother Yunus. I just want to add that the people that I serve, plus the Muslim, I get in my office more than 50% are non-Muslim. They just need that talk. They just need empathy, care, hearing. I don't teach them Islamic values, but it's already embedded on the way that when I talk to them. And guess what? Like, I'm having 2 boxes of translated Quran. They said, okay, we want to read it. We want to read, we want to see. And because like I am not in a position to do da'wah, I will tell them, okay, read it and come for more explanation. And if you don't have the time, just don't take it. No, we see how Muslim students, they act and react and they don't have stress and all that. We just want to be like them. We are already stressed. And even the Muslim students in higher education, I feel them like, the مؤلفة قلوبهم, that they are Muslim, but they don't practice. They just need somebody to take their hands and teach them simple things. So, and I was doing that like when I was a community leader. So now I'm in this position. I feel that my responsibility is even more now. That's why I'm like going through that path.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you both for your comments. Sister Shazida or Chaplain Saiful Islam, any response to, I guess, specifically the question of how do you measure or account for lived experience?
How do you accommodate those who do not have those kind of? I mean, I hear it. That's why I indicated, in my, earlier, I said from Islamic's perspective, we do not have those requirements. You can be an imam if you're accepted by the community in a masjid or in a community, and if you have the knowledge, and you are welcome to have that. Now, the question of endorsement. Okay. Now, if you're seeking an endorsement for a masjid in a community and their requirement based on what, and if you have these by all means. But we are talking about an institutional endorsement where when we're defining, saying chaplain, and that's where, when you're talking about imam, that's a different thing. But when you're talking about chaplain, then it comes all those, criteria. And Brother Lukman, I hear you with that passion and everything. But unfortunately, as I indicated myself, I had degrees, I had masters, 2 masters, but Navy said no. You have to have your Master of Divinity, but you cannot come to become a chaplain. And that is where our hands are tied. If you're to, but in the community, by all means, if the prison, if anybody hires you, okay, any institution hires you, by all means, we have no objection to that. And you are free to function in that capacity, and we'll support you in all in any way we can. We'll support you. But when it comes to endorsement with the criteria, requirement, depending which branches you want to go to, or what, universities or prison or hospitals, like if you go to a hospital, they would like to want to have you a CPE, period. If you're not, then the hospital is not going to hire you. It's not us or the endorsing agency. I mean, I hear the frustration, and it's always there. That's why we have another option of lay leader. Okay, if you cannot be a chaplain, but lay leader can function in the same capacity in a different, but in certain, in the military, and some places also the lay leader. So that's how we have it, because they don't have the degree, but they may have more knowledge than the chaplain itself. Over.
Okay.
Thank you. Sister Shazida, anything to add?
No, I agree with everything Chaplain Saifullah said. I'm sorry, Saiful Islam said. This is we have lay leadership, non-chaplain endorsement that could help you in that capacity in which you're talking about. But when it comes to institutional endorsement, there are certain things that we need to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I would just like to reiterate that in terms of requirements for a chaplain, I think those requirements are coming from a couple of different places. And I think primarily they're coming from, the hiring institutions, depending on your field of chaplaincy. And so if if you're working in a community, or you're working in, in a setting where some of these requirements are just not expected of you, then I think it's fine to forego them, or to bypass them. I think However, I will say that some of the requirements have a benefit that, you know, and this is what hopefully was evident in the CPE discussion, for example, right? There are certain fields of chaplaincy that require CPE and others that don't. But that process is one that we, you know, AMC recommends and encourages all chaplains to go through because it's such an immensely beneficial experience. And I think, Chaplain Luqman, what you were talking about in terms of empathy, in terms of the skills that a chaplain needs in order to handle, you know, different kinds of situations that arise, different types of people in different, you know, different stages of life, different transitions, crises, things like that. I think those skills of empathy and ability to handle those are things that are developed in places like CPE. I mean, they're all, not only in those places, you know, because of course, as Chaplain Najla mentioned earlier, you know, life also teaches us these things. But I think in terms of when we're talking about chaplaincy as a profession, you know, and gaining or, you know, building professional skills, I think that's where, you know, that's one of the other reasons to do one or more of these steps, whether or not your field of chaplaincy or your institution requires it. And that's sort of the, you know, the framework that we have approached this series from as well. Any other questions? We're right at 4:30, so we are out of time. But if there are any final questions or thoughts, we can take them. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, please go ahead.
I think they have heard enough.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you to Sister Shazida and to Chaplain Saiful Islam. Thank you so much for your time and for the informative presentations and overviews of your processes. I hope those in attendance, you know, got the information that they were looking for in terms of the endorsement process for each of your organizations. I think AMC announcements, there are a couple of links in the chat. If you all want to, this is, you know, for AMC members, we have events and things that are linked in our in the chat. You can also check out the website for additional information about, you know, endorsement, certification, other information on chaplaincy. So yeah, thank you so much, attendees as well as panelists. We appreciate your time and we hope this was an informative session for you all, inshallah.
I thank you for your time
Thank you.
and for your information. Has been very good. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Thank you. Sister Zakiya, I just want 1 minute with you.
Sure. Please just give me a second.
Okay.